Hello and welcome to another episode of Minecraft TerraVentures. We're here in my base, and unfortunately I've got a big thing that has happened recently. Now, in the last episode, episode 8, we built up this crop farm, or finished off the outside and the redstone and all the other things, but unfortunately I've got found something that's wrong with it. It's way too close to this iron farm. So while some levels aren't actually working properly, so every time I go in, that was a bit silly, every time I go in, the carrots and potatoes aren't working. They're constantly just wandering around. If we can show that for a minute, and I'm going to demolish this thing anyway, so we might as well jump in and see. Let's have a look. Now, I have been trying to figure out what's wrong with it, but with to no avail. So it's really been a bit of a problem since I built the crop farm. And you can see here, I actually didn't have a villager in here. I had to kill off a couple of them to make sure to try and see what was wrong with it. If we come into this one though, you can see that there's a lot of carrots in here. There's a lot of grown carrots, and the farmer isn't actually working. But for some reason, the potatoes and the carrots ones are working, so I cannot for the life of me figure out what is wrong with this thing. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do. So what I'm planning to do is to move the entire thing. Oh, and I don't have my elytra on. Anyway, what I'm planning to do is move the entire thing, possibly diagonally in that direction, to get it as far away as possible from this iron farm. I think that's what's going to happen. But for what I am planning to do for the rest of this episode, what am I going to say? What I think I'll do is I'll probably do most of this off camera, so this building will probably be moved off in another direction, and at some point in either this video or next video you'll see the finished result, and hopefully working finished result. And what I'm going to do now is move on to the next project I've got planned for this episode. Now, today's episode we're going to spend mostly in the shopping district because I've got plans for another shop. Now, we do of course have our aquarium, which we share with one other member of the realm. However, if we come into our shulker box and show off what's in here, I've been end busting for quite a while. We can see we've now got 6 elytras and 3 stacks of shulker boxes, which is about 90 odd shulkers itself. Now, what I do plan to do with the rest of that is to sell quite a few, because I don't really think I need 90 shulkers. So somewhere over here, probably right next to Furious's log shop, I think we can build a shulker shop. And what I'm thinking of doing is building it somewhat similar to an open shulker, like the mob shulker. So it'll be a nice purple base with little purple bits coming up, and then a little grey bit, I think it's end coloured, so a lightish brown in the centre where the shulker sales will actually happen, and after that will be the purple top. So somewhat similar to the rocket shop that's over here. But firstly I need to go gather those resources, come back and actually start planning how this thing is going to work. Okay, we're back in the shopping district, and I've gathered up the things that I'm planning to use, magenta and purple, both wool and concrete. So I'm going to play around a little bit with this and see what I can come up with, and I'm still got too much stuff in my inventory for this sand we picked up. But let's just type in again, magpies shulkers, and that should do. So I'm going to play around a little bit, but I'm thinking something like this, with little things coming up, and then we'd have a stone thing on this side so you can just walk in. But once again, as I say, I'm going to experiment a little bit, come back when I think I've got a good design. Well, as you can see, I've laid out the base of this thing. I'm trying to make it like a proper shulker, not a shulker box, like a the mob shulker, as I mentioned. So I'm trying to figure out how to get the various shades of purple, so it's not just one flat wall like we can see over here. This is just isn't right. So I'm going to try and figure out a little bit more. I might need to go get myself some purple terracotta, which does mean a bit of smelting and all that, but but we shall see how we go. Well, after a little bit more building, we've come up with this design. I think it looks reasonably good. You can see the chest there, which is supposed to be the internal shulker, the actual mob they're the one that spit out the tendrils. I suppose I could spit out some tiny tendrils coming out that send you levitating. But if we come a little bit closer, I've also stocked the chest completely. We've got what do you call that? 30. That's 28 plus 5. I think that's 32. It should be 27 plus 5. That's 32, and 32 in here each. So there's 64 shulkers in there, and they're at 15 diamonds each. I may raise or lower the price depending on demand, but this shop is now fully complete and ready to go. So if you would like shulkers and don't want to bother going out to the end, we have shulkers here for sale. One thing I do want to do is start moving my entire base of operations from being split from this side of the island and where my main crop tower and iron farm is. I want to move my entire base of operations to the far side of the island, and of course it involves moving this portal. I probably shouldn't be on my horse when I do that. And the main reason for that is every time I want to go to the shopping district or to another part of the world, I go through the nether, and I could of course use rockets, but I'm starting to run low on that, and the shopping district doesn't have any of those. So what I really need to do is start moving this nether portal over to the other side of the island, probably just a temporary one, and then I can expand it tenfold and build a big skyscraper on top of it and all that. So what I'm going to do now, probably mostly off camera, is start shifting all these items across to my temporary chest and permanent chest on the other side of the island, and go from there. And that will be the end, at least for now, of my base on this side of the island. Alrighty, and now to see if this thing actually links up properly. Hopefully it does, otherwise I'm going to be in big trouble. So let's just shift through, and perfect. That's gone through. Now if I just come through back into the overworld, it should bring me to the same place. And it didn't. That's a bit odd. I guess it means I've got some extra obsidian then, but I'm going to have to go into the overworld, into the nether, and figure out exactly where my portal should be now. And of course I probably should, which means I probably should find the permanent location for it. So that's it. I think I'm going to go demolish my overworld portal on the other side of the world, on this island, and figure out exactly where it should be. Or then maybe if I demolish this portal, it will actually work. So let's just gather up this obsidian, all 14 of it, and come back over to the overworld portal, and hopefully it works, and if it doesn't, I just get myself some more obsidian, which would be really nice, because then I can make myself a really, really big portal on this side of the world. Come on. There are times when I wish I could fly, but once again I really am a bit low on rockets, and I don't have a means of getting many more really, really quickly. So yep, I know this side works. Now if I come back into the overworld, I don't want more obsidian, and it's done the same thing again. Well, I guess I really should create more. I guess I really should eat, since I'm just about dead of hunger in here. But yes, I'm going to have to create a little bit more. I'm going to have to create another nether side portal, but that shouldn't take too long. Alright, after a little bit of calculation, I've figured out exactly where the the nether side portal should be, and it should be at 291 and 317. So if I come this way a bit, 317 and 291 is in this direction. So that means I'm going to have to go get some cobble and remove this portal, of course, and go from there. So once again, I'm going to do that and come back when I've got it done. Alright, so we've now built the portal. I've put a little bit of a tunnel. It can be decorated, of course, and I still need to put in these 2 bits here, 4 bits here, And there we go. So let's hope this works. So this side is done. It's not quite in the right place, but it's pretty close. And if we come over, there we go. So now we just need to come through from the nether into the from the overworld into the nether. And that works, and back again. And this way should work, of course. We just tried it. There we go. So that fully works. Now I probably will, like I said, I probably will shift the portal just a tiny bit somewhere, build a skyscraper of it, make it a lot larger, but that will come in a future episode. Well, it's been about 4 hours since the last clip I recorded, and in the meantime I've been quite busy trying to remove every single one of these blocks. Now I've left this little hole here, although I probably should get rid of the quartz. But yeah, I've left the chests in place because they still store a lot of items. However, all 4 of those chests over there contain all the building blocks, plus a little bit more of the blocks I used to build this enormous crop farm. So now what I'm going to have to do is find a place where I can indeed put it, where it's going to be far enough away from the iron farm, and start building it all over again. So I won't be doing the same thing in my episode where I did progress updates. I'm just going to probably just build it and then show you where it finishes up, and probably do a little few cleaning up things here and there as well. Well, I've come into a copy of the realm. You may see that it's a very recent copy because you can see I've still got some of the things from my world, but anyway, I've set up this little thing trying to see if this one will actually farm properly. I've got the hoppers in there, I've got a chest in the middle. I'm going to go AFK for about 2 hours or so and see if this actually starts working properly, and if it does, I'll be really annoyed because this is where the original second crop farm was going to be. Slightly offset, of course, but it's where the second crop farm was going to be, and if I just built it here originally, it would have worked. And the second thing is, of course, that if this works properly, I'm going to start building it properly in the realm again. Just shifted 16 blocks to the right, facing the road. And after about a 2-hour AFK session, we'll just have a look and see exactly how much was gotten, but I can already tell that this thing is working. The farmer didn't really do some of these ones, which were fully grown, but I can cope with a loss of about a quarter of the, well, maybe maybe not quite a quarter, but anyway. Is he going to do it now? No. But we'll see. But we did manage to get quite a little bit of this stuff, and that is the villager, throwing into the center villager. So that is quite a fair margin. If this was carrots and potatoes, I think you'd probably get around at least 9 stacks. I really haven't checked it. So I think this place over here is good. I'll just set the time to day, and we can hopefully watch him harvest a bit more. Time set day. I did actually break some of the composters, so I'm not sure if that is going to affect it. So, but hopefully he can continue to work again. So anyway, I'm going to pop back into the realm, in the proper realm, and see if he actually starts doing things. See if I can get this working again, rebuilt and properly in this side of the realm. Actually, first thing I need to make sure I got the coordinates. So I've got 2318 and 2543. Let me just write that down. 2318 2543, and the other corner is at, let me see, it is at 2304 2529. So I'm going to hop back in the realm, start building this thing in the realm again. Now, one thing I realized as I was building the original crop farm is that the thing was actually not quite centered. So if you look here, you can see that the chest, there's 6 blocks on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in our entrance, and on this side there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one thing that this is going to do is going to give me an opportunity to make this perfectly square. I've also made sure that these blocks are going to have the exact 15 by 15, I think it is, or whatever the exact measurements are in the inside. They're going to be exactly correct, because if you remember, there's supposed to be a one wide gap on each side. So on 2 of the sides and not 4, all 4. So again, rebuilding the crop farm is going to give me an opportunity to it's going to give me an opportunity to rebuild this and make sure the measurements are all correct on every side. Well, after a little bit of playing around and testing, I finally figured out, I think I figured out what's wrong. So the beetroot and the wheat ones are working just fine perfectly again, but the carrots and the potato are not. I'm thinking that there's now too many villagers in this area and it's pulling the iron farm ever so slightly in this direction, just enough so that the later villagers are not working properly. Because I've run quite a few tests, and every single time the iron farm was close enough and close, and this thing would, the carrots and potatoes would never work, but beetroot and wheat would. I have no idea why it would work that way, but for some reason it is. So actually, it could be something to do with the seeds, like the villager can replace the seeds, but anyway. And you can also see that the iron farm has been pulled out slightly because, where's my bow? Because this iron golem should not be spawning here. I don't have any arrows, so I'm going to firstly kill off the iron golem and start working on demolishing off the iron farm and figuring out the new place to put it. It's going to be a lot of beds, but well, after a little bit of building and a lot of testing of the potatoes and carrots, I've come to the conclusion that there is indeed a bug with the way that carrots and potatoes are working, because I did a bit of wheat farming on the carrots level, sorry, on the potatoes level, which is up here, and he continued to farm even when I left the realm, when I came back, when I went off in a different direction when I came back. So the wheat ones and that would explain why the wheat and beetroot works, but I cannot understand why the potatoes and carrots are not working. So if you do know why, and you can let me know down in the comments. So I believe what I'm going to do now, well actually what I should say as well is that I have now a lot of regret of now moving the building over to here, over to where it is now. Then again, it did give me the opportunity to remodel this slightly, and rebuild it entirely so it is slightly better, I believe. It does mean I've got 3 high here instead of 2, and I can now decorate the front of this bit a little bit better than I could have otherwise. And it can also mean that I can probably put another building over here, probably another portal room, so that it does free up a little bit of room, and I can figure out a little bit better what I want to do with this space. But unfortunately, I believe that's all I've got time for today, so if you have liked this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe, and don't forget to keep watching out for the next one. Goodbye!